Yeah, just the usual rainy day project, carving Bigfoot stumpers out of wood. So, yeah, just the usual rainy day project. I carved two Bigfoot stumpers out of wood. But it's not to hoax something, no, this is for an experiment. So, now let's screw them together. So now let me tell you what the point of this experiment actually is. I want to prove that those Bigfoot footprints couldn't have been made by a human wearing, well, such fake Bigfoot feet. Because a human is just not heavy enough. So, and now here we are, out in the woods. And trust me, I'm quite a big guy, so now let's see how this goes. And yep, they are actually quite comfortable to wear. I mean, you can't bend your foot, but yeah. Nice to do so. Yeah, people are looking quite strange at me, but as you see, yeah, it's really hard to make a footprint even with my weight, so
hardly noticeable.
Probably 80 kilograms or something. I hope not more, but yeah, even at this muddy ground here, it is really hard for me to make a distinctable footprint. I mean, if you do it in the water, you immediately flood it. That there's no point of trying it on a dry ground. So yeah, even with really pressing it in, it's water does immediately dissolve it, flood it. I mean, you see it here, but yeah, it's flooding immediately. So it's extremely hard to make a distinct footprint this way. So yeah, I think that proves my point. And here is the best one I have made so far. And it still doesn't look nearly as deep or pronounced as the original ones, like the one we see here in the picture. Yeah, and this kind of proves my point. It couldn't have been a human being making such footprints, cause, well, no normal human being is heavy enough to make them. Of course, we have seen some human beings, very unfortunate ones, to have such a weight, but they are not able to walk anymore. Yeah, I myself, I'm way too big. Yeah, I'm about 80 kilograms, plus or minus 5. So, yeah, even I wasn't heavy enough to make deep enough footprints, and those little Bigfoot stumpers I made, they are on the smaller side. Still, what I think is they are more the kind of realistic size, but considering the amount of surface area that the large ones have, the creature must be extremely heavy, far heavier than any normal human being can be. And this brings me to some technical details here, considering the weight of the creature we know as Bigfoot. Bigfoot weighs about between 300 and 600 pounds. This is about 136 to 272 kilograms. So yeah, considering my about 80 kilograms to a small Bigfoot with 136 kilograms, this is a lot more than I weigh. Yeah. And so, if we go back to the point, my thinking was, those large footprints, they couldn't have been made by a human, because a human isn't heavy enough. And if you try to make them while you are wearing a lead belt or something like this, you wouldn't be able to walk anymore. Your knees probably would take serious damage. And yeah, obviously we have to consider it could still be a hoax. But what I have proven here in this little experiment is simply that it was not a human using wood-carved footprints strapped to his feet. That's what I have proven here, because a human isn't heavy enough. But it could of course have been someone, well, digging the shape of the footprint out of the mud or something like this, or using something extremely heavy to pound them in, like, yeah, with a machine, like a machine hammer or something like this. But I personally can't think of anything someone could use out there in the woods without an outlet or a roads to transport it there. So yeah, seems like those things, yeah, there's a bit more to those footprints than, well, mainstream media wants you to believe. Yeah, maybe it's not just all hoaxes and laughs and giggles. Maybe there is a truth to it. A truth that is more mysterious than everything we know of. The truth is out there in the woods. It's big. It's hairy. It stinks. It makes large footprints. Yeah, very large footprints. So, I hope you've enjoyed this little experiment of mine. So, I'm putting my shoes back on. And I think, as we see, even with really trying to make a deep impression, I'm just not heavy enough. And to me this proves it wasn't this kind of device making these footprints, because you have to really have mud like this to even have a barely noticeable footprint here. So unless you're like weighing a ton, no way